Look, as we've all understand now, this is really a unique moment. We've got less than 8 years left to meet the SDGs, and we are off track. We were before the beginning of the pandemic, but as we've heard, the triple crises of climate, of the pandemic, and now the war in Ukraine has undoubtedly set back progress and in many, many areas. And so it has also amplified the data is key for the responses that we need to make. Mary and I are convinced that if we become smarter in how we use data in health and beyond, then we have a chance to course correct and reach the SDGs in time. And it's why we're here today, making the case for data with a purpose and to help put more data to work for people, but also for the planet. And I think we've been trying very hard at this at the country level, but in the UN, our biggest concern is with the people most at risk of being left behind. So when we talk about leaving no one behind, where are the no ones? And that, I think, gives us the greatest concern. In 2022, that for us was 300 million women, men, children who face the most complex risks, droughts, diseases, floods, conflicts. It goes on. It's the highest number ever. And we know that data can make a tremendous difference here. We have an example from Bangladesh in 2020, powered by data-driven insight. We were able to release emergency funding ahead of a major flood rather than after the disaster. And as a result, we helped over 200 million people evacuate before the worst at 50% of the cost of traditional humanitarian action. So here, saving lives, but also efficiency, the resources that you could well put to other uses. This is a value proposition. How did we do it? We did it with a bit of investment in new data, satellite imagery, machine learning, and ecosystems. And I'd like to see that value is put at scale for the sake of at least 300 million for whom the SDGs remain out of reach. So the potential is tremendous, not just in moments of crises, but for the entire 2030 agenda. Now, trillions are needed to meet the SDGs. In the Addis Ababa meeting, we said we needed to go from billions to trillions. We're talking about $4.2 trillion per year to be exact. And data will help us navigate the choices and the risks ahead so that the investments can deliver impact where they're needed most. Data, evidence, facts, we all know are the lifeblood of planning and good policy. We've said this for a couple of decades now, but it's why I'm also excited about the partnership with Mary to work on a better financing architecture and our campaign to unlock $500,000 for data with purpose. And I think the purpose is really important here. We have a framing of the SDGs, but we need to get more specific at the level of countries. At the heart of the partnerships, we will have two financing instruments that play into the strengths of our institutions on the ground. The Complex Risk Analytics Fund, CRAF'd, which is hosted by the UN to support data ecosystems for stronger crisis action. And the Global Data Facility, which is hosted by the bank to nurture national statistics capacity in lower middle income countries. Really important at this point as we try to look at the emergency responses we need for the different crises. So together, I think we can unlock the potential of data across the full spectrum, from crisis and fragility through the transition to sustainable development. We can pool funding into dedicated instruments and turn fragmented one-off expenses into coordinated responses and investments. And so I think here, this will help us to drive the standards, improve the data governance, and advance those shared values and ensuring that it's accessible to those that need it at the local level. But in the end, this will also mean efficiency, lower transaction costs for all our partners. So very excited at the potentials that we have for coming together, particularly with these two instruments, but with this community too.